What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Aiden's Archive. Not usually on camera, but I figured today was a good opportunity because the new set's finished. And it'd be fun to be on camera. That way I don't have to edit as much either. So, yeah, I'm sure you read the title and you're probably already defensive, but let me be clear, this video isn't targeting anyone in specific. It's not even targeting the comments on this channel. In fact, I actually get a lot of great comments on Aiden's Archive, most recently from my DaVinci Resolve tutorial on how to make episode and TV reviews. Two people found that very helpful, and so that was the whole point of making the video. Glad you enjoyed it. I've also gotten some great comments on my main channel, like in the Spirit video. A lot of people talking about how it was a movie they grew up with and seeing a lot of the same appeal I did. Just people sharing some genuine good stories and stuff. It should be stated that not all comments are cringe. It's just that a lot of them are, and I think the negatives outweigh the positives, so much so that I wrote my mom's notebook 8 reasons why I think comments are cringe. You don't have to agree with all of them. You don't have to agree with any of them. This is just my personal experience as someone who not only makes videos, been doing that since like 2011, 2012, but also watches a lot of videos. The first YouTube video I remember watching is the Super Smash Bros. Brawl trailer for the Nintendo Wii. So like 07, 08, back when YouTube looked completely different. It's good memories there. But since then, I've kind of grown to hate YouTube comments, and I want to go over my reasons why. So number one, I think probably most obvious, a lot of comments have very short-sighted observations. The thing about making videos, or any art, is that it takes a lot of time. And it takes a lot of time because the process of making a video has so many individual steps, from scripting to recording, voiceover, editing, all that sort of stuff, right? So when an idea comes to my head, there's several passes at refining that idea. Like maybe I brainstorm, write a bunch of stuff out, construct that into a tighter script. Maybe I talk in front of a mic for 4 hours and just pick the best ideas from there. That's sort of one pass. Then recording is usually another pass. Then editing is another pass. And so by the time I've put my video out, by the time a lot of people put their videos out, right, they have thought through that topic in that video and have seen every possible thing, usually through research or just listening to yourself repeat the same lines over and over again. And there's a lot that gets cut, right? There's a lot that gets cut in editing, and there's things that get cut in the written process. And so a lot of times I think comments are thinking they're clever when they're like, oh, why didn't you point out this super obvious thing? It usually comes down to the fact that they knew about that thing, but chose to edit it out or chose not to write it down, or maybe assumed that it was common knowledge, right? And I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with it if it didn't feel like this sort of slam dunk type moment where it's like, I'm not leaving this comment just to let you, the viewer, know of this minor piece of information. I'm leaving the comment to dunk on the hour and 40-minute video. Like, nice try, but you forgot this one little piece of information, so the whole video is now invalid. That's typically what I see a lot of top comments on YouTube. It's just these like really quick observations that don't really mean a damn thing in the grand scheme of things, but have like 1 billion plus likes, which kind of snowballs into my second reason that I'm calling the Reddit effect, where a lot of people view YouTube comments as this sort of game that can be won. And the reason that is because there's a number attached to them, likes. And I get why likes exist on a YouTube video, right? Like, as a creator, any sort of feedback is important. And I'm sure for the algorithm, the engagement on those likes for videos are huge. But thinking about it more, why do comments have likes? Like, really, it doesn't benefit the commenters channel. I'm not sure it benefits my channel as the creator because I'm not getting any new feedback from that. Why do comments have likes? And I can only think it's because, well, every other social media does, right? And I think they're important on a platform like Twitter, for instance, where all it is takes, right? So you can see anytime someone tweets something, how many likes it has, how many people agreed with it, or how many people disagreed with it, right? But on a YouTube video, those likes don't like mean anything, right? You don't get anything out of them other than, I guess, people agree with the comment. But if that's the case, then why not just like leave a reply as well? I don't know. There's no karma on YouTube. The upvotes don't get you anything on YouTube like it would like a Twitter Blue scenario. So what it ends up creating though, and the reason that I think comments are kind of cringe is it becomes a game of being like, well, if comments have likes, then I can get a ton of likes. And that usually leads to a lot of YouTube comments feeling like tweets or feeling like Reddit posts, right? Where the goal is not necessarily to give your own honest thoughts on a subject, but to play the game, to get the most likes, right? What's the most obvious, short-sighted, easy, or divisive often? It might not even be an opinion you believe, but just something that's so much of a hot take that it'll get a lot of people clicking on stuff, right? And so that just leads to kind of not very good comments in general because people are trying to game the system. All right, number 3, comments are cringe because they have a negative reputation among creators. I think any YouTuber you talk to does not like comments. They may not be vocal about it. They may not be upfront with it. But anybody who makes anything has their horror stories regarding comments as far back as 15 years ago, right? And yet, for some reason, we still have them. If they're an outright negative thing, why do we still keep them around? If creators don't like having them, why is it still there? YouTube has removed and added things to benefit creators and their mental health. Like they got rid of the dislike button on YouTube videos, supposedly, because it wasn't a helpful statistic for creators. They thought it was negatively affecting their psyche. But yet, for some reason, comments are still a thing. You can even still like comments, right? And nobody I've known has ever had a good experience with them. Or it seems like those good experiences are outweighed by a mountain of negative ones. So it just sort of creates like a question of why. Like, are we doing more harm than good by having those comments there? In some applications, I think comments make sense. Again, a Twitter or a Reddit, or even a live stream, right? Like you need that community interaction. And so comments happening live, like that's the content there, right? So I get it in that sense for a Twitch or a YouTube live stream. But for a fully made video, something you've already put your heart and soul into, that's the end of it for me. My attachment to that video is gone. I got to move on to the next thing. Not only for my sanity, but for the algorithm, right? Putting more stuff out. So at that point, I don't have time to interface with every single comment. I don't have time to debate these people. And so it ends up kind of dragging your mood down when you're trying to work on a brand new video. But then someone leaves a comment on one you put like 3 years ago, right? And now you got to drag yourself back to that. So yeah, I think that there's sort of a negative reputation among creators, which makes me question why they still exist. Number 4, a common defense you're going to hear from a lot of people about like keeping comments around is being like, oh, well, silly, don't read them then. They don't matter, right? That's the advice you hear. Don't read the comments. They don't matter. They're only going to make you have a shitty mood like a lot of other social media platforms are. And I guess my thing to that is if that's the number one defense of comments, if the train of logic we have to go on in order to justify comments existing is that they don't matter, then again, why do we have them? If the overall impact is so negative and people tell you to outright avoid them, then it makes me wonder who's benefiting there other than like maybe YouTube or the people that leave the comments. If this was a thing where like comments were such a huge part of the algorithm or creative experiences, then sure. But a lot of the time the advice I hear is they don't really matter at all. That's kind of a bad defense for something. Just being like, oh, you can ignore it. It doesn't matter. Then why have the feature there? I don't know. I'm having fun. Number 5. This one is a me-specific thing. And it's going to sound hostile at first, but I want you to keep in mind, like I said at the start of the video, this whole piece is not targeting any one person in specific. You watching this video, I am not targeting you. I'm not hating on you specific. I'm sure you leave great comments, right? But for me personally, I think there's a difference between people who consume content and create content. I think being creative is sort of a mindset you have, right? It requires you to be vulnerable, to put a lot of time and energy into something. It's often the art is a reflection of you, right? That process is exhausting, is draining, but can ultimately be satisfying. It's a whole ringer of things. I have huge respect for anybody who makes stuff, and I have even bigger respect for people who put that stuff out online to be ridiculed by people, right? That same empathy does not go to the commenter because they don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like when you made the video. They haven't made YouTube videos before. They kind of see things in a black and white way, a very simplistic way, have a very base understanding of YouTube. Why would I have empathy for really bad comments like that when they haven't gone through the process of making anything? And that's not to say like negative comments aren't valid. A lot of them are, right? People can be constructive with their criticism. People can say things without like attacking your character personally, right? Like negative comments are allowed to exist. Feedback is allowed to exist, right? But so often when people spiral out and crash out and leave these long, vitriolic, hate-filled comments, I have to feel like it comes from a person who doesn't create stuff, who feels bottled up, who hasn't gone through the process. Because if they did, they would understand that YouTube videos take a lot of time, and that leaving a comment like this after weeks and weeks of working on a video is damaging, right? So unless the video is like harmful or promoting something like genuinely evil, there really isn't a need to leave those type of comments, right? So I tend to lack the empathy for people who leave comments and don't create stuff, which is a large majority, right? So I'm already kind of at odds with a lot of commenters. Not you specifically, though. You're based, right? Number 6, you can't opt out of comments. And I know what some people are going to say, oh, there's a setting. You can turn off comments. You don't have to look at them anymore, right? But the issue I have is that, and I could be wrong on here, feel free to correct me, but it seems like turning off comments is just a way for YouTube not to promote your videos anymore, which could be an insane person talking, but it leads to this rock and a hard place situation I have where it's like, I want my videos to be seen. I want people to check out my stuff, right? But I don't want to deal with all the cringe comments, and I don't want to enable people to say harmful things. Which do I choose? My mental health and sanity, or whether or not I can make this a career? It shouldn't be a choice. I should be able to like turn these off and be fine. But there's a worry, at least I've seen in a lot of creative communities, that turning off the comments is like a death sentence for your video, or a sign that you've admitted you're wrong, right? Like people are going to comment on the next video and be like, oh, but he's going to turn off the comments on this one too, right? Like it leads to a bad reputation. Like you're not willing to engage with the discourse. And so often, a lot of the time, I'm not, right? Like I get the satisfaction from working on the YouTube video, from putting out the YouTube video. Sure, it's nice to get external validation from people or hear people agree with you. But that feeling is so quick and fleeting, and those negative comments last way longer and leave a much bigger impact on your psychology. And in terms of validation, again, that validation matters more from people I care about, right? So my friends, my family, or other creators. I think the happiest comment I've ever gotten was from Wampus, who makes DaVinci Resolve tutorials, who commented on my Spirit video saying it was really well made. And normal comments like that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. You feel good for a second. But here's a guy who actually like makes DaVinci Resolve tutorials, and he liked my video. I've watched his videos for like months at this point. This guy that seemed so far out and unreachable, like looked at my video and thought it was really good. That means a lot to me. But it's not because he left the comment. It's because this is somebody who like actually makes things, right? So those comments are few and far between. You get a lot of negative stuff, and I have to choose to opt in if I want to still be a creator on this platform. I don't know. Number 7, I find a lot of the time that comments often lead to that YouTuber making worse art. And what do I mean by this, right? If the video is right, let's say you agree with all the opinions of the video, but it was controversial, what typically happens? Well, the next video now has 5 to 6 minutes of runtime dedicated to responding to previous comments. And it's like, well, that's cool and all, but 1, I already agreed with you, and 2, I'm here for the new content. So why do I care about all that sort of stuff? Why not just respond to the comments directly, right? Well, again, like, reputation matters a good bit. And if you reply to a couple of comments, some people aren't going to see those replies, and now they may think of you differently as a creator. So now you have to take time out of your own day on a video you wanted to work on to respond to those people. And it just, like, that has to hurt viewer attention, right? Like, people can't be interested in you essentially bringing up week-old drama. I'm here to watch an Andor video, bro. I don't care about your Phantom Menace opinions. It's so odd. So in that case, the negative discourse has led to a video that could have had 6 minutes trimmed out of it. And then you get the people who the comments affect them so dearly that it's a every video situation. Or maybe their once positive videos turn negative over time because that's the community they fostered. That's all the comments. Now suddenly the creator is a reflection of that, and they're putting out more negative stuff than they used to be. I think I was watching one video from Usagi Shade, I believe, making a video about retro achievements, you know? And it's a great video, like, from start to finish. But he opens it up being like, you know, old games are fun and all, but at a certain point, does it really matter if you can't replay the game again, right? Like, you've had that one good experience, but there's no reason to keep coming back, unlike modern games, which have achievements and systems to help you enjoy games further, right? It sounds negative when I say it like that, but trust me, in the context of the video, it's just a reason for him to set up why he likes retro achievements. Clearly, the guy loves retro games. He is not demeaning them in any way. He's not saying that retro games are worse in any way. This isn't even like a negative tone in his voice. He didn't have like a super angry disposition the entire video. His profile pictures of an anime boy with bunny ears. His color scheme is pink. He has all these crazy like Wii graphics and super cool like aesthetic styling. This is not somebody who you would think would go out there and spew vitriol. But yet when you read the comments, there's so many people who had issues with that 20-second little bit, and it's like, are we not are we not like dealing with people in good faith anymore, right? Like, why are we assuming the worst about people? And I have to figure, for a guy who spends so long on these videos, who often doesn't upload for years at a time, and didn't in between that video and the next one, that the comments of people sort of taking him at his worst, it didn't weigh on that. So that sort of led to like creators putting out less videos. Another example, Jaywitz, I think, recently put out a video about the objectively best Nintendo console, and I shared it with my friend Zach. And we had our own critiques of the video. A lot of them, turns out, and I'm not going to get into all of them here. The reason I bring it up is I'm okay with talking and analyzing and giving feedback on certain YouTube videos. But I would never say that to Jaywitz publicly, partially because I respect him so much. Like, I love his output. I love all the videos he's making. And 2, I don't want to be a downer. You know, I don't want to leave this 4-paragraph video essay about like, not a video essay, a 4-paragraph essay about why his video sucks. He spent a year on this. He was gone for a year or 2. If I leave this comment, am I going to keep him from uploading again? Like, no, I want Jaywitz to make whatever he wants, right? So there's no room for that sort of negativity. I can have those negative thoughts, but I don't need to share them publicly. I don't need them to be on a stage. I don't need them to have epic likes and dislikes and have my opinion rated on the social scale of how valid it was, right? Like, I can just share that with my friends and family and allow Jaywitz to continue to improve. Because I believe he made the video in good faith. And I believe, as most creators do, that we are our own worst critic. We see the flaws in things before anyone else does. Why would I go in there and dogpile on him even more when he knows, probably more than anyone, the issues the video has? Very minor issues, too, like animation stuff and rating stuff. Things that don't need a full comment, right? And so I think about that with my own stuff a lot. Is I'm not asking people to, like, lie to me or tell me videos are great when they secretly aren't. But I kind of have the mindset a little bit of like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Or at least think about how important you saying that negative thing is. Again, in certain cases, it can be fine. But I think a lot of the time it leads to like worse art or less art. And positive comments too, I think also can work negatively in a creator's favor because it kind of gives them like an ego and a big head. And what starts out as like normal, rational takes, you know, in a commentary video, suddenly with a lot of likes and comments turns into crazier and more radical takes because they're emboldened by their community. So it's almost like the comments sort of gaslit them into thinking they were invincible. And then you see so many Minecraft YouTubers and beauty YouTubers and Smash Brothers YouTubers all have this like fall from grace. And it's like, yeah, a lot of that stuff is personal, it's psychological or whatever, but let's not act like the community didn't also play a huge part in that, right? Like it's so damaging to the mental health, which leads to kind of my eighth and final point here. When a video is bad, we get a lot of crap for it, right? Negative comments, dislikes, your reputation being soured. YouTubers are probably scrutinized more than anyone else in media, traditional or otherwise, right? Just by the fact that you put out so much stuff and it's subjected to a large audience. Yet, for people who leave comments, there is none of that negative feedback. There is no recourse. There are no negative side effects. You can put out a comment, and it is just seen as this anonymous thing that's thrown off into the void. Probably the commenter doesn't even remember it, and they go on about their day, and there's never any recourse for that. Unlike Reddit, or unlike Twitter, or unlike any of these other platforms, a negative comment doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you post less. It doesn't mean people can see how many dislikes you have, right? Like, nobody knows that you left 1,000 cringe comments if you go to one video and leave a based one, right? There's no reputation regarding commenters. There's no standard regarding commenters. There's no judging their past work. But YouTubers are subjected to that all the time. And so when you combine the short-sighted observations, the gamification, the negative reputation, the defense that they don't matter, in which case, why have them? People who don't create and who don't see the process as being valuable, you can't opt out of them. The feedback leads to worse art. And on top of all of that, they're never going to be punished for having a bad take, which is like half of being a YouTuber. You leave a negative tweet, and the negative tweet like stays there forever. But the YouTube comment, it's just like it's lost to the sands of time. What was the discussion about this video? Who knows, right? And that's sort of a problem with the larger internet, with social media as a whole. This sort of anonymity kind of emboldens people to do mean things. And I think YouTube comments definitely share that as well. But that's all my complaining. To recap what I said at the beginning, I feel like I have to say this for the 5th time because I'm going to get a comment being like, oh, how ironic, he hates comments. Well, I'm going to leave a based one and see how he feels about that. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about anyone on Aiden's Archive. I'm not talking about anybody on Blue Catch Productions even. I am simply giving my take out there. And I hope that while there are a lot of bad comments, this is not to discourage people who leave constructive criticism or genuine acts of like joy and appreciation. All of that stuff can stay. I think all of that stuff is cool. It's just a lot of sort of the negative social media cesspool type stuff that I'm personally sick of seeing. And I think it's time that we kind of call that out a little bit and give more attention to that as a form of recourse, right? As a as a form of punishment. To be like, hey, no, like you can't just post a shitty comment out there and not expect me to clap back or to think about it anymore. We give too much power to random people on the internet, right? So I feel like that should change. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully this was entertaining. If you want less social media hot takes and want something actually practical, check out my recent DaVinci Resolve tutorial. I think that's going to be pretty helpful. Or check out this video where I played the hottest indie game of 2025. Turns out it's not Silksong. All right, bye everybody.